one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate. And good morning to my South Shore neighbors. This is Sharon McNamara. You are, of course, listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable here this morning on WATD. And I have my co-host with me this morning. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning.
And we have the one and only Tim with us in WATD studios in Marshfield. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. You sound very happy today.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always happy to be in Broadcast House, you know?
He's always happy to start his morning off with us.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. Two lovely ladies for a whole hour, 8 to 9, kicking off our marathon of talk shows until 12 o'clock today.
Yes, we are the opening act for McNamara on Money, so they'll be on later. I don't know if it's Alyssa, Justin, or Michael, or maybe all of the above. I just want to state for the record, you might hear me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have something in your mouth. What do you have?
It's my favorite time of year because I love pomegranates.
Pomegranate.
Oh,
Pomegranate. Pomegranate.
Pomegranate. How do you say it?
Pomegranate.
Pomegranate. Pomegranate. What's the matter? Does everybody know what I mean?
Well, when you said
yes,
it first,
I know what
like,
you mean. I know what you mean.
Did you skip a beat? You were like pomegranate.
Well, I'm also choking on them. So, I really do enjoy...
Seeds. You like the pomegranate seeds.
Yeah, the seeds. Well, I really do enjoy the whole thing. It really does bring me back. Like my dad used to get them for us all the time when we were younger, and it's just something I just really love them. They're very, very messy, but now technology...
And they're very good for you.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are, but now you can get them in a little cup, and you don't have to do any of the messy work. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's what I was having for breakfast.
And
you know what?
And you still are.
I know. Well, here's the truth is like... So, Tim, you and I go way back, and Melissa doesn't know how far back we go, probably, but, like, I used to go into the studio when I was on Michael's show and everything, too, and, like...
Pack a lunch, pack a breakfast, pack everything.
And, Tim, Tim would be like, your bracelets are banging, or remember, like, Bill Conley was always, like, snapping his pen. It was, like, the worst thing for, like, someone with, like, ADD.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah,
I know. I have my chapstick in my hand, and I'm like, do not play with it, because I will be snapping it. It's all show.
Oh, did you hear the pen? Listen to Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Bill Conley through the whole entire show.
Bill, settle down, man. Drop the pen. Jeez.
Relax, we're here.
It was almost like Chinese torture for me. I was like, all right. Yeah, but I will not lie. I put a mouthful of those in my mouth, and I was a little nervous to talk because I was like, I don't want to upset Tim.
No. You're having breakfast. It's okay.
Yeah.
And you know the radio etiquette, so it's fine.
And Tim, we love you so much, but you know what? It's our show.
Yes, it is. That's right. I always remind myself like this.
We could just have breakfast with Sharon and Melissa.
Yeah. Breakfast with Sharon and Melissa right here every Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Yes, I just
According to Larry, my name is Michelle, though. I've only known him for 7 years.
It starts with an M. Melissa, Michelle, it's fine. Yeah.
Usually I get Martha. People think
Martha.
My name. Yeah,
Martha.
people say that my name is Martha because I go, hi, this is Melissa. And they're like, hi, Martha, it's Melissa. And I'm like, oh.
Martha Wallace. No, it's Melissa.
Wallace, yeah.
And I'm Shannon.
Shannon.
So somebody was
That's an easy switch. I can see that.
Somebody was calling me Shannon the other day with Mary. They were in front of Mary, and they're like, Shannon. And Mary kept on saying, no, it's Sharon. And Mary's like, how do you handle that? I go, I don't correct them. She goes, well, that's why they probably continue to
just
call
go
you.
with the flow.
When they refer you, they're just like, oh, Shannon. Shannon over at Boston Connect Real Estate.
Shannon McNamara? I know a Sharon. I don't know a Shannon, though. Is that her sister?
I always say, I don't have a Shannon. I have a Sharon. Are you looking for Sharon?
No, I don't think so.
No, it's definitely Shannon.
Yeah,
Well, you're looking in the wrong place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. Well, I don't think we've talked about everything other than what we're going to be talking about today.
What are we talking about today?
We are continuing on with our conversation from last Saturday, which is how to win in a multiple offer situation. We did have somebody listening last week who reached out to us through Facebook.
Yeah, we love that too, by the way.
But I also just want to highlight our little thing that we did after the show last Saturday. So we had our Halloween dog parade and costume contest here at the office. So Boston Connect Real Estate in the heart of Pembroke. We had our second annual dog, it's a mouthful, but the Halloween dog costume parade and contest.
Yeah.
And we had some of our listeners show up too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I didn't realize. I'm like, yeah. We had a full-on conversation with them, and they dressed up.
And they dressed up, and they had a fake dog, and it literally made my day.
It was so funny. He walked in the trot.
Yeah.
Well, we keep calling it a trot, but he walked in the parade. It was so funny.
His timing couldn't, it was right when we were trying to put everything together for the judges. And in walks, guess who? I'll give you, Tim, I'm going to give you 2 guesses. It's someone who calls in frequently.
Tim, are you there?
He might have run away. That's okay. So
we caught him.
I'm sorry. I was doing something else.
Okay, I'm sorry. So we had a guest, somebody who listens into our show every weekend. So I'm going to give you 2 guesses. So it's someone who calls in a lot too. So he showed up. He had a fake dog, it's his real dog, but it was a stuffed animal, all dressed up as a farmer. And I want you to guess who it was.
I think it was Dick.
It was.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yes.
Yes, and his wife came,
Awesome.
and it was so funny.
It was fun. He came
fun.
in his vintage, car, and it was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Showed me all kinds of pictures of his house, and it was
He's
just
like,
great.
this is the view. When you guys coming?
Yeah,
Oh.
I know.
Yeah,
We
one
have
of
to
these
do it before
Saturdays we have to-
Thanksgiving.
yeah.
We're gonna pop over
We
with a
have to-
pie.
we
Yeah,
gotta-
definitely. Yeah, they love it.
Yeah. So thank
Tim,
you
we'll
so
bring
much
you
for
a pie
coming.
too. What type of pie do you like? Do you like pumpkin or apple?
I'm gonna go with apple.
Apple. Okay,
Nice.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so
All
I'll
right,
remember
thank
that. I'm
you.
going to write it down. Apple pie for Tim. So I will make
Apple
sure
pie
that I
for
write down.
Tim.
Yes.
So so thank you for coming, and we had a great day. It turned out to be 1,000 degrees outside.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it was 80 degrees.
It
and
was 80
really
degrees,
warm. The
and it
dogs
was-
were
yeah.
finicky a little bit. They were great. The dogs were great. They were just hot. I
Yeah.
had to take the costumes off
Yeah.
my dogs for sure because an English bulldog and a French bulldog don't do well in heat anyways. So then when I put their little piggy outfits on them, they looked like stuffed pigs because they were a size too small on each of them.
Yeah, they were a little snug.
They were a little snug, yeah, but I do want to say thank you for our event, and our events would not be possible without our wonderful volunteers. We had our event coordinators here at the office for that one, so a big thank you to Ginny Wandell, Susan Bollinger, Emmy Flaherty. Who else was on that one? Michelle Fay.
Yep.
You, of course.
Julia.
And Julia, yes. So thank you so much to the
Donna Bagney.
and Donna Bagney, yes, to our coordinators. And another big thank you to our judges. So we had the chief of the fire department, Chief Rick McDonald. He came again this year, so thank you, Chief. And we also had Captain Jordan Hill, and he was great, and he was here with his new wife, which was a lot of fun, too.
I didn't realize that they just got married.
They just got married in
Nice.
August. So congratulations to the new
Hills.
Mrs. Hill and the Hill family there, and thank you for taking the time to do that. Also, do you want to mention our sponsors that we have?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
without our
bringing that-
sponsors, we can't do
Yeah.
these things.
I'm bringing that up right now.
Yeah,
So our sponsors, so we had Emmanuel Ebot from Styles Law.
Yes,
Whoop, whoop.
thank you, and Mark Stiles, of
And Mark
course.
Stiles, of course. Jessica Celia of Team Celia at Lone Depot. Amy Masfer from Sherman Law. Samantha, I can't pronounce her last name.
Don't
I'm
even
sorry.
bother, but she's great.
Radius Financial
Let's just
Group.
call her Samantha. She's great.
And all of them, pretty much all of them have been on our show.
Yeah,
I don't
and-
think Jessica has. Jessica hasn't been on our show, but I'm sorry, what?
No,
Oh, okay. And then we had the Dog's Den, of course. And then, then we had a couple people here, Fence a Pup, Fence a Pet.
Fence a Pet.
Pet Stop, Mozzie Munch Dog Treats, OM Obedience, Callers by Tanya, and then Maritime Mortgage. So we had George come with his daughter dressed up.
Oh, she was so cute.
Oh my God, so cute. And they had a table here of Maritime Mortgage. So my whole real estate team of my home purchase was here.
Yeah. So can I tell? Do the treats again. Who was the treats?
Mozzie Munch Dog Treats.
Mozzie Munch Dog Treats. I want
Yeah.
everybody to remember that. So my little Miss Marley, she's not food motivated, but
Yeah.
this
Does
morning
she love them?
She loves them. This morning I was doing a little sit high five with her, and normally like she wouldn't do it, and she totally got it. And there was a woman who was who trains dogs that was here too, so I think I'm going to reach out to her. And then of course Tanya was here, and she has the she makes the dog collars and stuff, and I bought a couple of those. So it was a really great event. I did not have to buy anything to do with the pet offense because what is it?
Fence-a-pet. Fence-a-pet.
Fentapet. We just made up something.
Fence-a-pet.
Fence-a-pet, because I already have that at
You
my
already
home.
have- you already have it.
He is wonderful, though. If you need any of those dog-related items, please give us a call.
Yeah, and we post all that stuff on social media, too, so follow us on social media.
Yeah, follow us on social media. I think we should do a contest every month, and if you follow us, that's worth 5 points. If you
5
like
points for Gryffindor.
Yeah.
No, made you laugh.
You did, because I don't watch any of that, but I knew what you were talking about.
I know. Thank you, Nens.
Yeah, and 1 point for like if you liked our stuff. Can you make a contest for that?
Sure, I'll come up with something that's a little bit more thought out.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was like on a whim. Okay.
I know.
That's how ideas happen for people so they call it ADD. I call it entrepreneurship.
For people who have ADD.
And for people who have ADD.
Got it.
Clearly, my meds have not settled in.
Well, now
yet.
we're like halfway over. We haven't even gotten to
So, everybody, have a great Saturday.
breakfast with Melissa and Sharon.
We could do this. It's almost like
could.
Barstool,
We
whatever.
could. Barstool Sports?
Yeah.
No.
A little bit, but it's coffee.
Well, yeah.
And
okay.
he just bought like the most expensive
well,
property
Dave-
in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
What was it, like
Nantucket. I've never
35
even been
million?
to. No, I think it's like 42 million.
$42 million in Nantucket. Yeah. Well, good for him.
Good for him.
Yeah, started right here. Like,
If he would like
On
to
a-
adopt a 32-year-old woman, almost 33.
yeah, I guess it could have started just like this on like a talk radio show on WATD. So if anybody out there wants me because they think I could make it famous, I'm all yours.
Yeah, we have time. We'll figure it out.
So our discussion today, we are continuing on with multiple offer situations, and we're seeing it in certain price ranges for sure. And I just want to highlight, because we went through this process. Obviously, we told everybody last week that Melissa has secured a home. She has signed purchase and sales agreement.
Yes.
So yay! It's so exciting.
Yep.
Every time I go into the house, I get to go into your house more than you do.
Yeah.
Because I'm the listing agent on it. But every time I go in it's more and more, and it feels like home. And I'm so excited for you for that. I
Thank you.
truly
Yeah.
am so excited for you for this. And but we were talking about having 24 offers and just sort of the stages that buyer clients are going through right now. If anybody does want to talk about the NAR, how that came back, the lawsuit came back as them being guilty, I'm happy to talk about that as well. So if you didn't hear about it, maybe we'll do a whole show on it just to explain exactly what happened. 781-837-4900 is the phone number here. But I excuse me, I just wanted to continue on with our topic, and I listened a little bit to it last night. When I'm working, I need some background noise, like a little bit. And so I was listening to our show just to sort of follow up in my head about some of the things that we were discussing. And it's interesting because the stages that we go through are real. And I feel bad for so many of the buyers that didn't get. So you got chosen by. You were the chosen one.
I was the chosen one.
You were the chosen one by the sellers. And
Another Harry Potter reference.
is it?
Yeah, and you didn't even know.
I didn't even know. Wow. Okay. Well, I did sit and listen to whatever. I won't go down that road. But I just keep on thinking about the 23 other people that didn't get their offer accepted. So. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time to put your house on the market, certainly, because I think putting your house on the market at this time, not for the aspect of, I'm going to get so much over asking or any of those types of things. It's whatever your terms and conditions are that you're looking for, you have a better chance of getting exactly what you want right now than you may when there's more inventory on the market. So I am a big advocate of putting your home on the market even during the holidays. So we'll probably do a show on that.
Yeah.
We'll do it next week, okay?
Well, it's funny because somebody last night I was talking to, and I told them that I got an accepted offer and we were going through the whole thing, and she was like, oh, we had used an agent years ago when we were selling our house, and they have since recently used Matt Mahoney.
Oh, yeah.
A few times, and he's actually going to be listing a house of theirs as well, and coming up soon, actually in Pembroke. And they were telling me like, oh, the agent before Matt, before they were introduced to Matt, was, they just felt like they did so much wrong and that it went on the market at the wrong time. They're like, it went on in December. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I was like, you can sell a house in December. I'm like, I promise you can sell a house. I was like, we just talked about this on the radio show. Actually, Emmy and I were talking about it the night that, our offers were being considered for your listing. But I was like, you can do it and you can sell your house in December. I promise you that. It's just, there were probably other factors involved because they just were not happy with the situation with whatever happened, with that other agent. And they have since not gone back and has used Matt multiple times. So clearly they are happy with Matt and Boston Connect. But but I was like, I promise you.
I just want to do like a podcast for agents and trainings for agents. Can we do that?
Well, so you know what they said to me?
What?
They could tell that that wasn't their full-time job.
Yeah.
And they said that after they sold the house, they were like, the next one that we sell or anything that we do with real estate, we are only hiring an agent who works full-time in the industry. And they said we didn't even find out until like halfway through selling our house that this guy had a full-time job and just like didn't have, like, that's why he didn't have the time. And I was like, well, he probably also didn't have the right training if he couldn't dedicate it to his business here.
Well, and think about that too is, the trainings that we do, like I came in yesterday morning and I just ended up sitting down here because I was having a conversation with one of our agents, and then other agents came in, and then other agents came in, and then conversations started. And, one was like, oh, when I looked at that house, did you notice this? And when I did that, did you notice this? And then in came Faith. Poor Faith. She needs a break.
Yeah.
Faith needs a break. Honest to goodness, she got our Shining Star a couple months ago, and I feel like she deserves it every month because she had another situation.
Yeah.
That should be a show. Did you hear about her situation?
Briefly.
I won't talk about it right now because it is sort of still in negotiations. It was supposed to close yesterday, but that would be a really, really good show. How specific you have to be when you're purchasing a multifamily.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we write that down? Multifamilies. But where were we going with all that? I don't even know. Where were we? Trainings, yeah. So I think that the training aspect is a really big part of it. And when I said this last week on the show was when I was looking at these 24 offers, 100%. So first of all, quite impressed that 30% of the offers came from Boston Connect Real Estate.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them were, I don't even know if there was any that were from the same exact company. So we put in 30% of them. And I could literally tell if I didn't see the name on it, I would know that they had training here.
Yeah. And why is that?
It was, first of all, it was complete, right? Like it had all the parts to it.
Yeah.
It was thorough. Every place that needed something to be filled in was filled in. There were spots missing in some of them. Like, I'm just not going to put that there's a mortgage contingency, how much the mortgage is for. Like when you're in multiple offer situations, I'm sorry, the listing agent is really, 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 really busy. And that's not an excuse because I try to take everybody's phone call, but things can get missing. You know what I mean? You should call or text when you are submitting your offer to make sure that the offer got accepted. So thank goodness, because one person did text me and say, hey, I just want to confirm that you got my offer. And when I looked, we didn't.
Yeah.
We have that new thing that Microsoft is doing with quarantine, right? It was in quarantine.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to really that should be 101. What I did like is some of the agents and their loan officers took the time to have their loan officers call me. And when their loan officers call me just to say, hey, Sharon, I just wanted to check in. I want to let you know that my client will be submitting an offer with XYZ real estate agent. And I just wanted to let you know that they have been pre-approved, not pre-qualified. There is a difference. They've gone through this part. They've gone through that part. They are very, very financially secure. And I know that I can get this to the end. I appreciated those phone calls because I write notes on every offer that comes in. If somebody does that, I write notes on it so I can remember to tell the seller. That's my job, is to tell the seller everything that I find out. That's why every time someone has an email or anything like that, I always submit it. The other thing that I was very surprised about with 24 offers, this is how you can win at a multiple offer situation. Your agent can call or text the listing agent at any time and say, can you tell me how many offers you have on the table? If I say 1, all right, you do with it what you may. If I say 20, do with it what you may. But what you should do is assume that we are asking for highest and best.
Yes. I asked you, obviously I put in an offer for myself, and I asked you a couple times how many offers, but like the first time I asked you, I think it was like 7. So it's like, it didn't even really matter because I was like, okay, I obviously need to just go in with, this is my best, like this is it. So,
and you learned, I think that's one of the things too, through your process, your offers have, they have, progressed every time, where you sort of already knew what you had to do if you were in a multiple offer situation, right? I think there was a time when you just assumed, hey, if they like my offer, they'll come back, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, there was one. Yeah, there was one situation, but it was because I was up against 3 other people, but there's been situations where, there was a house in Hanson, I was up against 32 other people. This time it was 24. You got 24 offers, but, I've been up against 16, 13, one other offer, and that was the offer that I got accepted last year. But yeah, I mean, every single offer I've put in, I've come up with a different strategy, and with this one, I'm just like, I know you're going to get so much, and I know you're going to get a lot of offers, and this is just the best I can do. And I had to be okay with that.
Yeah, and I think you did a great job. I mean, I wish I could share the picture on the radio show of what you looked like when Mark and I called you.
Maybe after it closes.
Yeah. Well, I
know my mother wants it. She keeps hounding me. I want those screenshots that Sharon took.
Oh, well, Mom, just text me, 781-294-4848. All right, Liz, now you got my digits. Just text me, and I'm going to send you those pictures because they were absolutely beautiful. And I know that Liz is your mom. Let's just put that out there, right? But I'm her work mom, Liz. Yeah. Okay.
And she's okay with that.
You're okay with, she is okay with that? Okay. Yeah. I never want to insult anyone's mom, but but I love her like she's my daughter. And that I hope that people love my daughters like they're their daughters too, right?
Yeah.
It takes a village. But Mark and I, you should have seen the two of us, like when we first found out. And Mark and I were in Boston, and we were at the Economic Expectations with Lawrence Yun. And there we are sitting there, like on these big chairs in the Federal Reserve building. And Mark's like, they accepted her offer? They're taking her offer? I go, yeah. And he's like, are you going to call her now? And I was like, yeah. He goes, we have to, but we're supposed to go in. I was like, we're going to call her right now.
Yeah.
And we FaceTimed her, and Mark had tears in his eyes. Did you see that?
I didn't see his tears. I just saw him
because you couldn't see through yours.
Stone face. He's just like, how did this happen? You're getting a house. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
I know. And honestly, like, we went over there to bring some, and this is the other thing too. I know we're supposed to have a conversation, but I'm just going to say how grateful I am, especially this time of year. For the clients that I have, I just had a resale client. I was her buyer's agent when she purchased in 2010, and it brought back so many memories because it was like one of my first sales that I had as Boston Connect. And I had them, I believe so anyways. I think so. But anyways, she was selling her house, and it was wow. Like, I've seen like this next chapter for her. And it was exciting, but I told her that I wanted, like, if she has beautiful, beautiful taste. And I said, if you're going to be, if you have any extra furniture, I'd love to purchase it from you for staging because we want to take it up a level and start doing some more of that staging stuff. I mean, we do staging, but now have furniture and things like that. And so she gave me a couple of items at the end. And she said, oh, you can have these if you want them. So you took them, and we brought them over to your new house. And when Mark was over there, you should have seen him walking around.
Really?
He was walking around like a dad.
Yes. You know, someone's got to walk around there like they know what they're doing, because I don't. But my mom texted me, she said, "You're such a blessing to my baby, Sharon. I don't mind sharing with you."
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That actually gave me goosebumps. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that. So when we brought the stuff over, it was nice to like see him in sort of that mode. But I'll share those pictures with Liz.
Yeah. But it's been a journey. It's been a journey. We still have a little bit to go. A week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, this was a quick one. Even Emmanuel is. It was weird too for me because Emmanuel is your attorney, and my client is working with Scott Clifford, who is also wonderful, by the way. Scott Clifford is an attorney out of Hanover, and he is a really, really good real estate attorney as well, and I really do like him. He works a lot with Sue Bollinger, one of our full-time agents here at Boston Connect. But I would say if I was to give advice to anybody who was in this situation and they've gone through this process of grieving and hate and being pissed off, the biggest piece of advice that I can give anyone is don't ever assume that your offer won't get accepted.
Yeah. And that's what I was doing beforehand.
Yeah, remember when I had to slap you in my office? Yeah. I felt like it was like one of those things from, what was the movie with Cher? Snap out of it. Yeah. Witches, right? Witches of Eastwick.
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that, yeah. What would be your biggest tip for people who are in these situations?
My biggest tip, I know, I definitely want to do, once this closes and gets settled and everything, I definitely want to do a show about my journey specifically, but my biggest tip is, like, you just, in as simple as it is just keep going. Like, just keep going and be in constant conversations with your loan officer and your agent, because yes, I can talk to myself because I was representing myself and talk to you and Mary, but talking to my loan officer and having a really great relationship with her, so Jasmine and George from Maritime Mortgage, like having a really great conversation and relationship with them was helpful, because I was very confident that they would tell me if I couldn't do something, because it was just not going to be affordable wise, like, because I'm doing this on my own. So they know where I'm comfortable at. They're on top of the rates. They're doing like every single, and I say that I have a different strategy for every offer, because every single time I've gone, put in an offer, different? The rate has been different. Yep. My max is different. And this is what, my 8th offer, I think. Like, in my numbers have sort of been all over the place, because right then and there, I was able to do that. The next one might not have been able to go that high, or maybe I could go higher. So, like, always be in constant contact with your team.
I think that's good advice. I mean, that is the advice that I gave, and I know we have this question that we'll get into next. And that's the advice I was giving everybody that was at the open house that I met with, and anybody who was calling me about offers. I said, please make sure that your pre-approval letter is dated for this week, because rates have been changing, and what we've seen, unfortunately, is people who were in a rate but they didn't lock in, so they thought that they could afford a certain amount. Then when the rates went up, they suddenly can't afford that house anymore. So I try to avoid at all costs for anything to fall apart. So last week we were talking about the different offers that I had, and I talked about a little bit about my strategy of how, and it's not even a strategy, it's just how I line up my marketing for my clients. I 100% think that when you put your house on the market, allow the showings right away. Because you will have less of that buyer's remorse type thing, people buying a house in 5 minutes, walking through a house one time with all these other people, then they have time to think about it, or then they talk to their parents about it, or their friend who has a cousin who looked at the pictures and didn't think this or that. You get too much buyer's remorse. I love it when buyers can go into a home with their buyer's agent, take their time, have a full 15 minutes to a half hour showing, and go through the house and really make a good decision for them.
Yeah.
That's why I think that I end up with, you've been in situations recently where there were 2 offers or 4 offers and 7 offers where we ended up with 24 in the same price range.
Yeah.
Right? So that to me is I like to put my houses on the market on a Wednesday, allow showings right away. And is it a little cumbersome for the people who live there? Most certainly. My suggestion always is if you can get out for a few days, just try to get out for a few days, stay with a family member, do something like that. You don't have to worry about coming in and out for showings. And then when you have the open house, it gives the open house is less. I mean, even though I did have 32 couples come through, groups of people, so that was over 75 people. Imagine if I didn't.
Yeah.
How many people? And this happened to me last year. Why I'm so anxious about it is I said, what happened to me? But when I had an open house, there were a lot of people going through it. It happened to me twice. I was thinking about 2 different houses. So it did happen to me twice. Had a lot of people at the open house, and everyone was saying, I know that there's going to be so many offers on this. I'm not going to have a chance.
Yeah.
They had your mentality, but they didn't have Cher to slap you across the face and say, snap out of it.
Thank you, Cher.
Yeah, call me Cher.
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 We saw Cher in concert.
Yeah, we
together.
did. Yes, we did. If I could turn back time. Oh, yeah, I love her. Anyways.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I could turn back time.
That's so funny. But that's what, actually, I just saw that Michelle Fay from Boston Connect Real Estate is watching. Hey, Michelle. Michelle is one of our full-time real estate agents here at Boston Connect Real Estate. And I also see Jake Turner is watching us. So hello, Jake. Jake
Hello.
He's our mold guy.
Yeah.
I don't have his card in front of me. So Jake, text in the name of your company is right now.
He drove by during the dog parade.
Oh,
did a honk.
Yeah.
We saw it.
Yep. He was here. He was picking something up from Emmy Flaherty, a full-time real estate agent here at Boston Connect Real Estate. He was dropping something off for her the other day, and I was like, hey, can I have you come over here and, come downstairs? I want to just see if you can see something for me.
Is it at my house?
No, here.
Oh.
Here. Yeah. So Jake is listening, and he will text me what the name of his new company is. He just changed the name of his company, so I want to give him some kudos. And we're going to have him on the show again, either on a Tuesday or a Saturday as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on by, Jake.
Yes. All right. So that's how I do it. I like for people to be able to get in there. One of the other things is
You just spilled my coffee.
Sorry. Sorry about that. Escalation clauses. So a listener who was listening last week, her name is Janet. She wrote in, and please feel free to do that anytime. She said, hello, my husband and I were listening to your show today, which was last Saturday, and heard you say that sellers didn't want accelerating offers. What is the reasoning behind that? Just curious why they wouldn't consider them. Could you please explain that on next Saturday's broadcast? Thank you. So thank you for the question. It is a very good question. And what she means by an accelerating offer is what we call an escalation clause. So let me explain what it is, and then I'll explain to you why we prefer that we don't have them. When I'm a buyer's agent, I love to use them. As a listing agent, not so much. And this is the reason why. So an escalation clause would be, let's just say a house is on the market for $400,000, and you write up your offer and you say, I will offer you $400,000. That's your list price. But then you add an escalation clause. So there's a whole addendum that you can add to it, or you can just write it in the remarks down below. The escalation clause, you may say, it used to be 1,000, then it was seeing 2,500, now we're seeing 5,000. So whatever that number is that you feel comfortable with. Now let's just say your max for a house is 450. Mm-hmm. But as a buyer, you certainly don't want to, even if you're against competing offers, as a buyer, you don't want to give 450 when you don't know what the other offers are. I mean, the house is on for 400, but certainly you could have
enough. It almost
enough.
becomes like a little game.
It really does. But you could have another offer for $390, right?
Yeah.
You could have an offer for $405. But if your max is $450, are you really going to go in at your full $450 if you're not sure what the other offers are? Now, here's the thing. When I am a listing agent, I do not look at my offers or I try not to anyways. I don't look at my offers, like if I know I'm going to be getting multiples, until the deadline.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is because if an agent calls me and says, hey, how many offers do you have? Oh, right now I have 10 offers. And if they say, are they good? Well, any offer is a good offer.
Yeah. If you get an offer, that's good.
That's good. Then they'll start to ask you questions. There was one guy that did that to me.
Do you have cash? Do you have...
Exactly. Do you have cash? Do you have...
anyone waiving home inspection? Like, people just get very bold and start asking questions.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, I have multiple. Please submit an offer, the highest and best.
Yeah. And the truth is, if your seller tells you, if my seller said, Sharon, I don't care if you tell people what my offers are, you can.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't think that that's a good practice.
Yeah, me
so
neither.
I don't think it's fair either. But if I haven't had a seller tell me that it's okay yet anyways, right? So if that person is like, okay, my max is 450, but I'm not sure. Like, what if the other offers are coming in at 405? So let's just use this scenario. We have a house on the market for $400,000. You say, I would like to give you $1,000 over your highest offer, not to exceed $450,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I go through all the offers, and my highest offer is $415,000. Okay. That means that the escalation clause would be $1,000 over my highest, not to exceed $450,000. Well, that means that person would be purchasing the house, if their offer got accepted with all the other terms and conditions, of course, $416,000, because they did $1,000 over my highest.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to Janet's question, as a listing agent, why don't I like that?
Because you're saying that you can afford more, that you are willing to pay more, but you don't want to.
You don't want to pay more unless somebody else is willing to pay more.
Yes. And then what happens if you get 5 offers that all have escalation clauses, and then they all go up to certain numbers, and this one, it's like, okay, so now you have, so which is it? Is it the highest over the next one that has a escalation clause, or like at what point does it end?
Yeah, so let's use that as an example, right? So we go back to, I'm going to offer you $400,000, okay? And then we have offer A that offers $415,000. We have offer B that offers $420,000. And then one is willing to go up to $450,000, and one is willing to go up to $425,000, whatever it is, right? We definitely know that, this is an easy example. I know the one that was willing to go up to $450,000 would probably be the one that's going to win, right? Because once I do, all right, you're $1,000 over, you're $2,500 over, you're $5,000 over. Each offer is a different amount over the highest next offer, but it keeps on bumping people up, right? So the reason why I like to do this too is because I want people to just give me their highest and best. Just give me what your highest and best is.
Yeah. If you're in a multiple offer situation anyways, you should be submitting your highest and best.
100%. 100%. And that's why people use escalation clauses, because they're like, I would be willing to do this, but really only if somebody else was willing to do this, right? So for me, when I go back to everybody and I say, I am not accepting, the seller, because it's not up to me. It's up to the seller. In this situation for me, it worked out really nicely because the daughter is a real estate agent up in Maine. So it was nice to be able to just talk lingo with her and not have to slow it down.
Yeah.
And she agreed 100%. Yeah. Once you start getting too many of them, it gets too convoluted and everything. And don't assume that there will be don't ever assume that there will be a counteroffer.
Yeah.
If you're willing to waive your home inspection, then you should. We will never ask you to do that, by the way. We had 7 offers from Boston Connect agents, and don't assume that waiving your home, that we will go back and say, okay, we like your offer price, we like your terms, but we don't like that you have, a home inspection. We don't like that you put in.
Yeah, it's your right to have a home inspection if you want.
Yeah. And two, okay, so let me finish up on that, and then I'll talk about the other things. We sort of went back onto just offers. So, Janet, if you're listening, and I hope you are, if not, you can listen back. The reason why, as the listing agent, I just want people to come up to their highest and best. So in this situation, when I go back, and I think here we had 5 or 6 agents gave us escalation clauses. So again, I don't know until the day I'm opening them, right? So then when I opened them, I called all those agents back and I just said, hey, I just want to let you know the seller has decided that they don't want any escalation clauses. Please let me know if your base number, sale price is going to be the number your client is going to stay at, or if they're going to make any adjustments to their offer, right? Because again, if I was on for 400, they offered 400, but they're giving me 1,000 over the highest offer, not to exceed 450, then really their base number is 400.
Yeah.
Okay.
So really your offer is 400.
Exactly. So my point of calling them back is, all right, you tell me, what is your highest number? Is it really going to be 450 or is it going to be 425? Like, you tell me what it is. So when they resubmit their offer, they change it, the sale price to whatever that number is. I will let you know that every single person that put in an escalation clause put in their highest number.
Yeah.
So these are not real numbers, by the way, that I'm talking about today. But so in my example, the one that said, I'll give you 1,000 over the highest, not to exceed 450, made their offer 450.
Yeah.
So if you think about the math and what I just did, now the escalation clause is 450. But when I said before, if they were $1,000 over the highest offer, not to exceed 450, and the highest offer I had in hand was 415, that means they were 416, and I got them to bump up to 450. That means that I just helped my client secure another $34,000.
So my mom actually has a question about this. She said, what if there were two offers that were $1,000 over highest offer up to 450 with all other terms the same? What would you do? Look at whose offer came in first?
That would really be up to the seller at that point. And, you know, if it was two people with two escalation clauses, I would certainly go back and say, I want an escalation, like I want no escalation clauses, and to see. But if two offers came in at the same exact
essentially
price,
identical,
you know what? I've never seen really identical. Mm-hmm. You know what, though? One of our agents one time was in this situation, and they flipped a coin.
No.
Yes.
That just made my heart sink.
Yes, they flipped a coin. I think it was Laurie. Laurie Rini, full-time agent here at Boston Connect.
She's watching, so Laurie, if that's you.
Laurie, was that you? You need to let us know. Call us too.
She
Laurie.
had identical
I think
offers?
that, no, she was in it. She had the buyer. I think it was Laurie. Laurie, call in 781-837-4900. 781-837-4900. I think it was Laurie, and they ended up that her client lost because of a flip of a coin.
No, I would die.
Yeah.
I would be so disappointed.
You know, and here's the good news for us, though. When we put, and again, for me, it's very, very, very easy. And how do you see that Laurie's watching? Because I don't see her watching. I see Kristen.
Laurie Rini watching, Kristen watching.
Yeah.
Right above.
Oh, I don't see it.
No.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because for me, I get very systematic in that. Like, I just look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I'm looking at. Laurie, if you're listening, 781-837-4900. I'd love to know if that was, I feel like it was her.
The more you say it, the more I feel like it's true.
Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm looking at numbers. I'm not even looking. And this is why this one was a little different for me, too, because I was seeing who the agent was. I was seeing who, you know, just different things that, like, all the love letters were there. I try my best not to read love letters because my focus isn't on that. And for
you'll fall in love.
Yeah. Well, and just for liability reasons, too. You know what I mean? I never want to feel like, here's the thing with those letters is, it could be assumed that an offer wasn't chosen based on a love letter, right? So we would never want that. You know, like if I said, oh, I can't wait to wake up on Christmas morning and come running down the stairs and open up all my Christmas presents underneath the tree.
Yeah.
Well, if I have someone
that
who
indicates,
that indicates that I'm not handicapped.
Yeah.
It indicates that I'm Catholic or Christian of some sort.
Yeah.
So if the person who's listing the house doesn't like people who can walk and run down a flight of stairs.
Yeah.
Or celebrates
a holiday.
Celebrates Christmas, then they could make a decision based on that. Mm-hmm. So that I don't like to do that. I like to base mine on clear facts and numbers, and that's why I'm so precise. Like, oh gosh, we'll have to do a Zoom one morning where we plan it out, so I can give people the Zoom number, and I'll show them what one of those spreadsheets look like. Because if you like data, you're gonna love my spreadsheet.
to get back to my mom's question, so you looking at the numbers, meaning how much are they putting down?
Yes.
So how much are they putting down with the offer? How much they're putting down to purchase and sales, and then how much they're financing.
Yes.
So, and it also comes down to appraisal. So, like, if they have an appraisal contingency, whether it's in their pre-approval, this is assuming that they're not doing cash, if it's in their pre-approval, or if they have that as a contingency in their offer, then, figuring out with that number, the ratio, okay, so this person's putting 20% down, this person's putting 5% down, where's that cushion? So that, because the 15% could be a big difference, and if it doesn't appraise, what happens then? Do they have the money to come up with the difference, or are they going to, ask for the sale price to be reduced?
One of the offers wasn't accepted, and it had a high price point on it, like it had a high sale price, and the offer was not accepted because so when we're looking at the offers, I'm also looking at the pre-approval letter. So we're going to stay with a house is on the market for $400 and you offer $450. I am looking at that pre-approval letter to see, like, what is your ratio? What is your sale price to list price ratio, right?
Yeah.
If you're at 95%, and when I did my comps and I'm looking and I'm showing my client, hey, these are the sold properties in the last 3 to 6 months, depending, right? So 3 months will narrow it down for sure. This is where I'm pretty confident this house is going to appraise at. So if I know the house will appraise at $400 and you tell me that you want to offer $450, I have to worry about this appraisal.
Yeah.
So if you're going for a 95% loan to value ratio,
Yeah.
then I know that house isn't going to appraise. This is one thing that sometimes people will do. They will say, well, if we put it in for $450,
They'll just throw a number. Yeah.
and I look at the pre-approval letter and it says right in there that it's an appraisal contingency is right in there. Then I know that they might be thinking, hey, it doesn't matter because now, again, this is if I have multiple offers, okay? If I only have one, then I take my chance, right? Hey, if it doesn't appraise for $450, at least I know I'll be getting the most. So if the appraiser comes in and says, no, the highest this house that I would say to the bank, now the appraiser works for the bank. They're saying, I'm going to give you the loan. This is what the loan will be. But I'm telling you right now, if these people ever foreclosed, the most that you would ever get for this house is $410. So now we have an appraisal issue. So would the buyer expect the seller to lower the price? Probably.
Yeah.
If they're putting down 5% and they don't have any cash anywhere else,
Yeah.
right? So I wish Janet would call in. Janet, if you're listening, 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. I just want to see if I'm explaining this well enough because I write a lot.
Yeah. You like the numbers.
I like easels.
But that word with you.
I know.
Kristen Hella, who is a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate, she's on our show all the time, our honorary co-host. She'll be on the show with me in 2 Tuesdays from now. She commented on Facebook and said, I had buyers win in an identical multiple offer situation with an escalation clause. It ended up coming down to terms. My buyer was willing to allow the seller a rent back.
See? Thank you for sharing that, Kristen. Yeah, it really does matter. And this is what I said about your offer getting accepted. Like, when you weren't willing to put it in, you never know what is most important to the seller.
Yeah. That's why it's always important to ask.
Exactly.
You can ask the listing agent, hey, what's the most important to your client? What are they looking for? Because it's not always number. And I know that we say that, but I promise you it's not always the number, It's also the terms. Do they need a lot of time? Do they need to get it sold today?
Yep.
So that is a great strategy for Kristen. She had an identical offer, but her clients were willing to do a rent back so they could stay in the house. They still sold it. Her clients bought it, but they allowed the seller to stay and rent it back from
I wonder how long. Kristen, tell us how long they rented back for, because that is really a good strategy. Now, we all know that Kristen is a great agent. All of our agents here at Boston Connect are wonderful.
And she put in an offer on.
Yeah, she put an offer in on this house that you won to.
Yeah.
I hate to say won, but that that they chose you. And her offer was great. It really was. It was really good. She knows the reason why. And that's one of the other things I like to do as the listing agent too, is I like to call back every single person who put in an offer, call their agent and explain to them, hey, this is the reason why they chose this one over that one. I don't know exactly what the mindset was when they chose yours, Melissa. Like, I'm pretty sure. No, I'm not saying you had a terrible offer, but clearly there were other offers. And again, when people are like, oh, well, there were, if there was a higher price or if there was, this or that. I think, honestly, it came down to a lot of things like just what they were looking for and what they wanted in an offer. You had it.
Yeah.
Whatever that was, it was special to them. And that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Kristen says 30 days.
30 days. All right. So do you want to explain to people what that actually means? And Janet, again, if you're listening, 781-837-4900. We only have 3 minutes left, but I'd love to hear from you to make sure I answered your question.
Well,
okay.
Also, Evis, your team member, is sort of in this situation too. So she sold her house in Quincy, but she is doing a rent back in her house in Quincy because she's building new construction. So there was a little bit of cushion. And she's got 2 small kids and, moving 2 kids and stuff. So, it's allowing her the time to finish, to have her house to completion. So she was able to secure a buyer for her house that allowed her the time to do that. Kristen, I don't know what the exact situation is, but it could be that, they're just purchasing, timeline wise, it didn't work out. They might be purchasing something else, and they may be purchasing something else, so there may be a domino effect. So like, just to get one of the houses sold, it might have been that. There's so many different factors. But I don't know what are other examples.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly what it is. It's basically you're saying, okay, we can close on the house, whatever the standard timeline is. Yours is not standard. You did it in 20 days. And that's so funny because Jasmine, when I bought this house, we did it in 23 days. Yeah. So she just keeps on trying to she's upping it herself.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So they did it. I had to have a whole new septic system put in too. So, but so it may be the person, like you said, who knows why the reason is, but they are able to stay in the house. They have the money. And I think that that's a good thing too, because it helps them go back, to their next house. There are a lot of people who will sell their house. They have enough equity and then they're going to be purchasing another house and it's going to be cash. Yeah. But all of their cash is
it's contingent upon them selling their house because that's their asset. That's where all their money is. Yep.
So it puts them in a really, really good position, even if they're looking for another house. So thank you for sharing that. Can't believe it.
We're done.
We're at the end of the day. But
end of the day.
End of our day here at WATD. McNamara on Money is on next. I don't know if it's Alyssa, Justin, or Michael, but any one of them will be wonderful. So be sure to tune in with them. I will be at Cushing Trail today from 10 to 12. Again, tomorrow 10 to 12. That's a 40-lot subdivision in Hanson. 486 Spring Street in Hanson, if you want to find me there. Cochise Estates, I know Kristen Howlett will be there tomorrow. Mary Baker is there today. We are at Horton, Cochise Estates, 11 to 3. So make sure you visit them. And we have all kinds of other open houses. Go to BostonConnect.com.
Yeah, BostonConnect.com to find all of our open houses.
Yeah, we have to get better at that. Yeah, I know. Okay, bye. Bye. Bye, Tim. Have a great day.
Bye, you too, ladies.
Bye, Facebook. Thank you for watching.
Have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together.
WATD FM Marshfield, WBMS Brockton.